post-game live stream, and off we go on a Sunday. It's the 9th of November, and Sarah, for the third consecutive week, the Ravens emerge victorious. 27-19 is the final in Minnesota. A gutting it out type of victory on the road. Baltimore improves to 3-5 now, and off they go. 4-5. I can't shortchange them. 4-5 go the Ravens. Cleveland looming, and a trip to visit the Browns coming up next weekend. But Sarah, the Ravens used their mini bye to their advantage. They got it done. It wasn't pretty, but ultimately goes in as a win. And so they're streaking. They're rolling. They're feeling good. All three phases contributing. Yes, it was a subpar day from an offensive perspective. But Sarah, this is a team that continues to take away the football, continues to cash in on timely plays, timely moments, second half adjustments, you name it, across the board. We're going to get into every single aspect of this one. I'm Bobby Trossett. This is Sarah Ellison. As always, our post-game lives are brought to you by our friends at Manta Sleep. No, I am not in St. Petersburg, Florida at the moment. No, Sarah has not gotten an 8-hour sleep for days, but we're here with you and we're ready to roll. Good to see you, partner.
You said the Ravens are feeling good. I'm sorry, my voice is gone. We're just going to have to deal with this today. You said that the Ravens were feeling good. Dude, you're looking good. I got to paint this picture for the audio-only audience. Bobby has on his Caribbean button-up shirt with a chain underneath, looking like it's gold, trying to put his guns out again. Look at the turquoise blue ocean behind you. Palm trees, you got a glow like a nice sunburn hitting the forehead and cheeks. You're feeling good. We're feeling good. Baltimore's feeling good. 3 wins in a row. Ravens were 1-5 like a month ago, and now they're 4-5 and they're rolling. And I know that opponents matter, but you know what else matters? Personnel matters. You've got guys coming back from injury. You've made changes along the defense with trades, and they're having an impact. And now all of a sudden, the Ravens are feeling good. They're starting to feel like momentum's on their side. And I promise you, Bobby, I promise you, the rest of the AFC and the AFC North is taking notice, and everybody else can downplay the opponents. But just think about this. The Bears had won 4 straight before the Ravens, and now they've won all their games since the Ravens. Let's not put everybody down. Again, it's not the Bills, it's not the Chiefs, but momentum is gaining in Baltimore, and sometimes that's all it takes is momentum, and you can start getting you guys loose. There's still problems. There's a lot of problems. The offense didn't move the ball enough today, especially in the red zone, but a win is a win, and I say enjoy them and celebrate them every time you get one.
I think John Harbaugh did exactly that. We'll have more on different levels of his press conference and some notes, but Sarah, I'm just going to piggyback off of kind of what you said here, because for once, I'm going to stand down on a pretty significant question that I feel like there are still answers to be searching for, and that is where they stack up through 10 weeks now among the AFC elites. But the answer to that, or answers plural, it doesn't really matter in the here and now, because they are breathing new life. They are winners of 3 consecutive games. They are taking away the football, right? And you can go down the list of the things that they are doing, and then to your point as well, what they aren't doing that they'll have to come correct on when they do have more divisional opponents coming up. Maybe not Cleveland won't be the stiffest challenge. It's a championship defense. Their offense continues to struggle mightily, and that's coming up next week in Cleveland. But those questions will have to be answered down the road. The here and now is that they're finding ways to win, and they've done so for 3 straight weeks now. Today, 3 turnovers. They cashed in some of those turnovers directly to points. Not as many points as you'd like, but they did turn and convert them to points. 3 fourth down stops. There was a lot of bending, particularly in the first half, Sarah. Some breaking, particularly on that opening drive, but not a ton of breaking overall when you look at it collectively over the course of a 4-quarter sample size. In the fourth quarter, speaking of the fourth quarter, they put together, and it really started at the end of the third and leaked into the fourth, a methodical, dominant Ravens type of drive that featured rushing, positive rushing yards and creativity in short yardage situations, which that'll be discussed, I'm sure, throughout the course of this post-game live stream, Sarah, because that's an area maybe that we both can point to in terms of, they gotta continue to chip away at that and focus on efficiency there and more consistency and better blocking and you name it. But that 11 play, 67-yard drive that started at the end of the third, leaked into the fourth, spanned over 6+ minutes, I think right there was a game-defining moment in not only execution by the players, but the strategy implemented by Todd Monken and his offensive staff. So you got to give Tyler Loop credit today. Missed from 56, but he was 4 for 5, 12 points on the board, including some extra points there. And then, again, I just think Todd Monken deserves a ton of credit back-to-back weeks, partner, for what he's done at the half and how that's directly led to night and day performances offensively between the two. So,
and it would definitely be nice if the offense could start sooner. They were 0 for 3 in the red zone in the first half. It seemed like they should have scored on that second drive, but Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely both dropped passes from Lamar Jackson, especially the Likely one. It was right on the money. Mark Andrews would have been a little harder, but it still should have been caught. So you'd like the Ravens to start sooner, but if I had the choice of, do you score on the opening drive on a scripted play and then other people adjust and you can't adjust back, or that your scripted play doesn't work, but you figure it out as the game goes on, I'm always going to take figure it out as the game goes on. Always. And so you go from 0-3 in the red zone in the first half to 2 for 2 in the second half. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. And you just start. You start. I love that Todd Monken can get a feel for it. Now, the other thing I'd like him to get a feel for is just bringing in Keaton Mitchell a little bit more. Okay, he had four carries. I would like to see, especially if he's got. I mean, for the first 3 carries, had a 9.7 yards per carry average. So we'll get to that a little bit more when we talk about the rushing attack. But yeah, Bobby, I felt like this game was won off of two things. Number one, the turnovers. You have 3 turnovers, and it should have been 4. Roquan Smith was overturned by replay assist. I don't know that it was clear and obvious. I don't think that it was clear and obvious. But nonetheless, they had 3 turnovers. This is amazing news for the Ravens. To get turnovers again, and now you've had it 2 weeks in a row, 2 games in a row where you're getting turnovers. You're not going to win. You're not going to win when you lose the ball 3 times. It's not going to happen. And you are going to win when you do get the ball back 3 times. Here's the second thing. Even though the offense wasn't what we're used to, like what we saw with Lamar Jackson against the Miami Dolphins, where they're just like doing whatever they want the entire game, minus like the first series. But we talked all week going into this about how loud it was going to be in Minnesota. We talked about how important it was going to be to play a clean game, to have a mistake-free game on offense, and not to let those things, not let Brian Flores with all of his blitzing and the different looks he's going to have at you, not to let that get in your head. So it was actually heartening to me that when the offense was struggling in the first half and only putting up field goals throughout the first half, I liked seeing the patience of Lamar Jackson. Not once did I see him panic. How many times did we see Lamar throw his helmet before his injury in frustration? Or Derrick Henry trying to throw down his helmet and he almost fell off the bench when he did it. He was so in so much frustration and disgust. This team, I've watched so many great teams. Great teams build up to and have a crescendo in the fourth quarter. And that's where I like there. It's always better to dominate from the first minute to the last minute of the game. But when that can't be the fairy tale of every game, you want to see a crescendo. And I loved the patience. Derrick Henry wasn't getting a ton of yards. Lamar Jackson wasn't getting much going on. But those 2 leaders stayed calm in a loud and ruckus environment with a defensive coordinator that was coming at them, with a stout defensive line. And the Ravens just stayed patient until they could just – and that crescendo, you kind of talked about it at the beginning of the fourth quarter. That was the crescendo. When you come in and they came out and the Ravens just said, we're going to run the ball down your throats. You know it's coming and you can't stop it. And it's Derrick Henry over and over and over again. One for Keaton Mitchell in there. And they just That was it. And then followed with the defensive turnover on downs. That's when I knew, even though things were kind of interesting because leads are never like secure in Baltimore. But after that series, the Ravens scoring, going 67 yards on 11 plays, run. And then you finally throw it for a touchdown and you get the 2-point conversion. And then you follow it with the turnover on downs. I was like, the game's done. It's over. There's too much momentum on the Ravens side and they were so confident. That's what I loved is those two things, the turnovers and the patience into a crescendo to win the game early in the fourth quarter.
I think that's paired well with what they've also done in recent weeks, right? Like Jordan Stout's role in wins over the Bears and the Dolphins, right? It's like special teams impactful contributions. Today, it'll be Keandre Jackson that we'll talk about a little bit later on when we get to teams. But you mentioned the turnovers. Like you almost have to throw in the idea that it was a 6 turnover day.
Yeah.
This was a 6 turnover day, 3 turnovers on downs and 3 takeaways. That's exceptional. And so as much as some want to continue to emphasize, and I get it, some of the drag, some of the short yardage miscues, right? Some of the lack of push from an offensive line standpoint. Some of the drops. You already mentioned the drops, Sarah. I mean, at one point, you're not even halfway through the first quarter, and you're looking at 3 drops, and you're looking at a pre-snap penalty that you mentioned from Voorhees. And you're like, oh, this is going to be a long day.
Yeah.
This is going to be a really long day. But they hung in there. And the fact that, look, I think we can probably all agree that Brian Flores is going to be a coveted piece in this upcoming hiring cycle for NFL head coaches, defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. Jamison Hensley had the ESPN analytics, according to his research department, in terms of what Flores did to Lamar. And it was no secret, and it's no surprise in the aftermath of it, that he blitzed him 58% of his dropbacks.
Of course
That's
he
the
did.
5th highest rate of his career. 58% of his dropbacks. And as ESPN research also notes, Lamar got the ball out of his hands quickly. He averaged 4.1 air yards per attempt. That's his lowest in a game with 20-plus attempts in his career, and they still won the game. That's a positive. That is a positive. This was an ugly day offensively. They struggled to consistently run the ball. They were not playing with polish or really a sense of urgency out of the gate. Short yardage was a problem. I know I've mentioned that already several times, but credit Todd Monken. What did he do? He started getting into his vault. He dove into the vault. He's using Mark Andrews on a direct snap. I mean, come on. Like, he's using Pat Ricard. Pat Ricard hadn't gotten a carry, Sarah, since 2022. So they found a way today. And there's a reason why our title reads as it does. They gutted it out. They found a way. It was all 3 phases, and that should be celebrated on a day like today on the road against they were penalized. How many times I was going to say a really solid team. Minnesota did not play like a fully highly functioned team today. Sarah, they were penalized 13 times. I think they had 8 pre-snap penalties.
And that's terrible. That's why I'm happy. Like, again, think about all of last year when the Ravens lost. It was always like, oh, the Ravens shot themselves in the foot. And we said, yeah, but the good teams don't shoot themselves in the foot, and they know when they need to put on the cape, and they know when they just need to be chill and patient and wait for the inexperienced quarterback on the other side to make a mistake. That's what good teams do. This is now the 2nd game in a row where Lamar Jackson did not need to put on a cape, and the Ravens still won. That is good news. Like, I've learned to value like each win for how it comes down. It's so nice to see like Lamar Jackson almost put up a Jackson 5 last week. But I like this version too, where like, and those 4 were so easy. He never put on the cape, and he never really had to today, unless you consider patience being a cape. I mean, he leaned into the turnovers and the field goals to do its job. Of course, he wants to keep, pounding the ball into the end zone. But if you don't, you got to let your other guys shine. And that's what he did. I value this type of gut out win. I do, because I want to see that you can hold a fourth quarter lead, and they did. And it probably wouldn't have been as scary if Roquan Smith's interception hadn't have been overturned. I like seeing how the Ravens look when they get punched early. I like seeing Todd Monken adjusting. I like seeing those things. You know what else I like seeing? Lamar Jackson, I just can't believe it's happened all this fast, Bobby. He just had his 100th career start today. Where has the time gone? It's crazy. It does, like, sometimes it's like he was just drafted yesterday. 100th career start today. John Harbaugh was asked about it. He said, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it. Because life is short, run to the ball. And Lamar does. Lamar epitomizes that, says John Harbaugh. I just couldn't say enough about Lamar Jackson. If you want to talk about his career, his legacy, I mean, I think he's 14-1 against NFC teams on the road. It's pretty incredible. He's writing a story, and in his mind, he's just beginning. It's just in the early chapters, I'm sure. And we didn't get to hear Lamar Jackson live. He wasn't at the podium. He was in the reporters with the locker in the locker room. So maybe we'll look into that and find out more of what he had to say. But 100 career starts, and that's what I'm saying. He didn't put up flash numbers, but he looked like a seasoned veteran. He looked like a guy that has played in 100 career starts today because he never panicked once despite the struggles.
There you go. If you're wondering what the numbers are, 17 for 29, 176 receiving yards, a touchdown. He was sacked once. Quarterback rating was 87.7. And then in the rushing attack, 9 carries, 36 yards, a long of 8. That's an average of 4. So, yeah, to your point, this is really, really good news for the Ravens. And there's going to come a time where they need every ounce of what Lamar's willing and able to give them. And that time is not right now. And I don't know when that time will be, Sarah. I don't know when they're going to have to lean on him. It's not if, it's when.
Right.
But that time's not now.
Well, at some point, here's the thing. For the last 3 games in a row, the defense has given up less than 20 yards or 20 points per game. Lamar is not going to have to put on his cape if the defense keeps doing that. At some point, there will be a better offense that will put up more than 20 points per game.
Yeah.
And maybe at that point, Lamar will need to put on his cape. But not when there's that many turnovers and that many fourth down stops. And this is great news. He did start to bring back the RPO game today. Femi Amedejo called that one. You weren't here for it when he did some preview with me when you were traveling that day. He called it. He's like, watch for that, some option runs. And he did. So he put in some option runs, but he didn't have to put on the cape. And let's keep doing this as long as possible. Let's keep doing this as long as possible. We got the Browns next week. How about we keep the Browns and Dylan Gabriel under 20 points again? Let's wait until these big time moments when there's other quarterbacks that get to sit back and let their team help them out. Let's wait until he needs to pull out the cape then. Let's keep having these clean, patient games for Lamar. And he'll keep up his end of the bargain on the offensive side. I mean, they put up 27 points today. And they settled for 3 field goals, you know? So let's keep having these games where he doesn't have to put on the cape unless it's absolutely necessary. I like seeing the rest of the teams come forward and help him out, and not, especially, I don't know where his hamstring is at right now, but I like seeing them step up. But his hamstring looked pretty decent. I mean, he's running those option runs. Still not quite as fast as I'm used to, so he's probably not 100. But I like this version of Lamar.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was alluding to, too. Like, not knowing where he's at hamstring-wise. That's why this is such good news. They haven't had to use every ounce and exhaust all resources that come with the supreme talent that Lamar is. And thanks for catching me in the live chat. Yes, it's not receiving yards that he had, 176 passing yards. Excuse me there. I'm on island time, apparently. Appreciate you guys for being with us. Over 2,600 concurrents and counting. Let's get to a read. We'll get to some super chats. We appreciate you all for spending part of your Victory Sunday with us. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership. And this episode is brought to you by our friends at Manta Sleep. And let me tell you, when I'm on the road, particularly all the different flights and puddle jumpers and buses, Sarah, that we had to take in order to get to a beautiful place like this. And if you're wondering where I am, because I see it in the live chat, people missed it off the top. I am in Placencia, Belize. Unbelievable resort here, owned and maintained by different Ravens fans, crazy enough. Larry France is a huge Ravens fan. He's the marketing director here, Sarah, and he used to follow me on Facebook before it was deactivated years ago. He'd been trying to get me and my family to visit for years, and I finally said, you know what? My mom's turning 60 tomorrow. Let's do it. My siblings are here. My future brother-in-law is here. My mom is here, and we've been having a fantastic time. So I just want to say thanks to Larry and his team for taking care of us, and thanks to Manta for the continued support, because when we are on the road, there's multiple family members, including myself, that use the Manta Sleep masks. Why wouldn't you when you're on the road? They give you true 100% blackout for a deeper sleep. They come with C-shaped eye cups for unbeatable side sleep comfort. 0 pressures applied to your eyelids or lashes. They've got advanced materials and ventilation for unmatched breathability that are built into these masks. Sarah, you and I always like to get on here and check out a different aspect of mantasleep.com, which you guys can do right now by clicking on the link that we have included as a pinned comment in the live chat. There's also one in the show notes, whether you're on YouTube or in the audio-only space. You see all the different masks that you have to choose from right now. If you find something you like, use our discount code at checkout. It's VAULT10. That's VAULT10. It'll get you 10% off. You can go to features like sleep earplugs. They've got bundles to choose from as well, where they're all packaged with you in mind. They've got a bestsellers group, sleep defense, silk, steam, and ice. I mean, you take your pick. We haven't even gotten to the white noise machines that I know the Ellison family has been utilizing. So, partner, Manta continues to be with us every step of the way. We appreciate them. And you, my friend, are muted at the moment.
Of course I was muted because I had a cough earlier and forgot to bring it back on. But I don't know if I told you this, but when I did this Manta Sleep ad read on Thursday, you may have caught an astray from me because they have a mission statement on the front page that talks about taking naps instead of coffee, and I added energy drinks in there. Go to that front page about how naps are more healthy for you. Our brand sponsors trying to tell you, Bobby, take naps, no more energy drinks.
Where is it?
Or saw you on the homepage? There it is. There's the mission.
There it is. Empower light sleepers to sleep better so they can do more. We believe great sleep is a non-negotiable foundation you need to create your best life, that it's impossible to unlock your full potential if you're not getting an afternoon nap every day.
Oh, you want to unlock your full potential? Go take a nap.
And that naps beat coffee hands down. Everything we create is fueled by our drive to enable better lives through better sleep and regular naps. I feel seen right now. Thank you, partner.
Manta Sleep is here to help you out, Bobby.
Yes, they are. Appreciate everybody over there at Manta for the continued support. And as you guys know, when you support our brand sponsors, you're directly supporting the show. Mantasleep.com to learn more. All those links included in the show notes and pinned comment right now in our live chat. Should we read a couple?
Yeah, let's read a couple here. There's a couple good ones. A couple great ones.
Joey H says, I actually have to turn my volume up because I can't hear Sarah. Bobby Braggadocious is looking like the most eligible bachelor, second best win this season with great defense and special teams.
Is that the first time somebody had to turn up the volume to hear me? I guess that's what a lost voice will do. This is a new thing for our show for sure. This has got to be a new milestone for us.
Where to next?
I like this one from off the top. CD Brittle says, why is the coaching staff in denial about this offensive line? It's going to get someone hurt. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, I wrote my 10 takeaways on Twitter, and my last one was like, I'm still nervous about Daniel Fa'alele, but that's a weekly takeaway. Andrew Voorhees, there was one that was that fourth quarter opening drive where they were running hard, and Voorhees definitely stood out on that drive, especially a play where he was trying to carry Derrick Henry a couple more yards, and he did. So that was nice to see. But I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, C. Brittle. I wish I could.
Thanks,
Captain Hard.
Yeah, Captain. What's up, Captain? He says defense has been looking better than the offense these last 4 games. But just like the Ravens, as soon as that side of the ball starts playing better, the offense looks sloppy and having slow starts. Let's see. What was another one that we enjoyed? All right, Party says, I'd kill for that view, man. Enjoy it. Thank you. Go ahead, partner.
Yeah, I love that. I think I feel that way too. Tanashi became a new YouTube member. Thank you for joining us. You always got to come to Eric Hill with his positivity. He says, in case no one tells you today that they love you, just know that I do. Saw the last part of the game. However, good win with what I saw. Oh, yeah. No more squirrels. Hashtag November Men's National Health Month. Hashtag Stop the 22. Hashtag Happy Birthday, Bobby's mom. Oh, nice.
Thanks, Eric. I'll definitely pass that along. This was also attached to the new channel membership that Tinashe. Is it Tinashe? Tinashe, let us know. Thanks for the super chat. He says, Tinashe writes, he or she says, Bobby's living his best life. Great win by our Ravens. This was a gritty character-building win. Do you think Kyle Hamilton's presence at the line is causing false starts, maybe causing panic? Why don't we revisit this when we get to Kyle from not only his post-game comments, but just the impact that he's bringing to the line of scrimmage and this entire defense coming up in just a bit.
We'll
Mike,
revisit that one. Yeah, we'll revisit that one later, and I'll revisit this one. Mike wants to know how I'm doing after BYU got beat for the first time, and it was a beat down for the first time this season. So we'll come back to that later. We want to continue with the Ravens content.
Sounds good. Whiplash 4 says, I really want to know from Femi or a former player's perspective what the Ravens see in the offensive line to not make a change because every week I am baffled. And Dev James 25 for you.
Says, happy the rookies on defense are stepping up. Offensive line is still a train wreck. And the graphic that said the Ravens are 30th in short yardage situations explains everything wrong with the offense. I agree with that. And finally, Jabari Cruz Ellis says Ravens business is picking up. Yes, it is.
And we appreciate you all for being here because this show is starting to pick up as well. And Sarah, we've gotten some great feedback in terms of the pace and flow and rhythm, how we're changing things, displaying super chats, maybe not reading every single one of them in an effort to become more concise, more condensed, and get to what you guys are looking for, which is content like Sarah just brought up on the screen, because Derek continues to inch closer and closer, not to greatness. He's already surpassed greatness, but to legacy-defining stuff. And today was another example of that.
Yeah, here's an example. Yeah, Derrick Henry, talk about legacy-defining. He keeps moving up the most rushing yards of all time in a single career list. He's now at number 15. At least this was at some point during the game. I don't know if he moved up a little bit more, but he's at 12,124. And by the way, high school Derrick Henry was also 12,124, so they had to put that up there. So he's taken the spot of Franco Harris and Thurman Thompson, who are now 16 and 17, pushed down the list. So Derrick Henry keeps getting it done. He finished with 75 yards today. Again, the short yardage situation, as we just pointed out in the super chats, were a problem. And then even when things were getting going in that early fourth quarter drive that we keep pointing out, he did slip a few times, kind of lost his own footing. He definitely left some yards out there. The Ravens ended up scoring anyway, but I think he could have had more yards. So I'm happy. It seems like since the team kind of called out Todd Monken, even though we were like, why is Todd Monken getting called out more than the defense? But what was said was still true. And part of it was that Todd Monken was deviating from the plan that they came into the game with. And my sense is that one of those plans is what they do with Derrick Henry. And so he's been sticking with Derrick. And that's what you got to do. People are going to try to stop the run first with the Ravens. You got to remain patient, which they did. Now, having said that, Bobby, as I said earlier, I still think there's room for more Keaton Mitchell. I mean, look, Derrick Henry's still going to be your bell cow. But for the vast majority of the game, he had like these 3 touches and was averaging, I think it was something like 9.7 yards per carry at one point. He finally got a 4th touch and he I think got 4 or 5 yards on it. He looked good again. Yep. So, I'm happy Todd Monken is staying patient and sticking with the game plan with Derrick Henry. And at the same time, can we put in the game plan a little bit more Keaton Mitchell? Can that be in the game plan and then stick to that game plan? That's what I'm asking for.
How can you not be? How can this entire fan base not be clamoring for that? He just brings an element of flair, explosiveness, speed. Most importantly, the speed kills. And he consistently is the perfect complement to Derrick Henry. Right? He's the perfect complement. And I'm with you. Why go away from him in the second half?
He just became non-existent except for that one carry.
Tie my shoe. Keaton should be getting a 50-50 share. Henry needs
that far.
that's a big share. That's a hefty share. Henry needs interior offensive linemen, and we don't have good interior offensive linemen.
But if you use Keaton more, you can't just keep bouncing him outside like that. He's got to go up the middle too.
Yeah.
So I don't mean maybe he'll be. I mean, he did go up the middle on one of them, but he actually had an opening too. So I don't know that I'd go 50-50, but like more than 4?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? More than 3 before you hit the fourth quarter? I don't know.
Definitely.
You're averaging 1 per quarter, maybe 2 per quarter. Maybe.
Yep. Yep. Look,
Yeah.
from a high level standpoint in terms of I think what this team needs to overcome from a short yardage standpoint. You saw Todd Monken dig into his bag to try and get anything going for them, whether it was what I already mentioned, the Mark Andrews direct snap and a toss to Lamar, which, by the way, I don't really see anybody talking about this. That was pretty nifty ball handling by Lamar because that was not stuck in his chest, if you will, or placed in his chest. That was more up here. For the audio-only audience, it was over Lamar's left shoulder, and he kind of corralled that football with his left hand, and he didn't think anything of it just because it was that nifty. I mean, that could have been ugly. Sarah, you know what could have also been ugly? The pitch from Lamar to Zay when they're trying to close out the
Oh,
game.
that one was bad.
I mean, come on. You had a couple bounces, literally in this case, where that football that Zay couldn't handle bounced perfectly. You're a basketball coach, youth basketball. Perfectly. It was a dribble. Zay dribbled it somehow and was able to pick it right back up, and you don't think anything of it. That could have been disastrous. But where I was going with the short yardage side
Real
of things.
quick, do you remember Zay when he almost dropped that pass too? Because he had it and then almost lost it and then grabbed it again. It was like one for like 15 plus yards.
Oh, yeah.
Like Zay, hold on to those. I don't know what happened on the one you just referenced, but he just sometimes makes me a little bit nervous with the ball security. But I'll let you finish your point on short yardage situations.
Yeah, but just to your overall point and mine as well, I mean, the bounces were in their favor today, and there were a couple fluky things that they got a little bit of lucky on. That is pure luck that the football angles in a certain way that it perfectly dribbles. A football's not meant to be dribbled. The fact that went right back to Zay and he was easily able to regain possession, that is pure luck. That is pure chance. So, I mean, the handling part of it was skill, obviously. But anyway, where I was going with it was clearly Todd got to a point where this team finished, 6 for 15, I think it was, third down efficiency. Let me get that final stat. I think it was something like, 6 for 15. They were 2 for 7 in the first half. So you almost felt like Todd was desperate to get something going. And that's exactly what you do when you dial up Mark to take a direct snap. That leads to positivity with Lamar. When you give Pat Ricard an opportunity to go right up the gut. I mean,
but that is what makes me nervous. Like, I was happy to see that creativity from Todd for sure. But it's also like on defense where we talk about how the Ravens have had to manufacture pressure. And it's like, well, how long can you do this for? And then they went and traded for Draymond Jones. And I liked Draymond today, by the way. Like, nothing too splashy, but it just seemed like a solid defense. You saw him in good position. He got a pressure early on JJ McCarthy. But my point is like, when coaches have to manufacture things, that means that the players aren't getting it done themselves. And so I love the creativity with the direct snap to Mark Andrews and then the pitch out to Lamar. That was fun to see. It was fun to see Patrick Ricard get a carry for the first time. And how long did you say? Did you say like 3 years, 2 years?
2022.
Crazy. So it's nice to see them lean into it. And that's how they started to get more success on third down in the second half. But we all know what the basis of the issue is. And it's that they can't run in these short yardage situations up the gut. And it's because you don't have great guard play.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like that is what makes me a bit nervous. Like how long can you lean into this creativity? And that's fine. Maybe he'll have creativity for days and he'll keep outthinking the defensive coordinator on the other side. Maybe he'll be able to do that. But the real issue is that you can't get 2 yards with Derrick Henry and Patrick Ricard because guards are getting blown up, just getting blown up. And so until they fix that, until they feel like they have somebody better who can take a guard spot, they will have to continue with this creativity.
Hey, one note that's come up since we went live while we're talking about the offense.
Yeah.
Somebody that was a contributor today. Yes, probably should have hauled in that touchdown in the back of the red zone, or back of the end zone. But Rashad Bateman is dealing with an ankle injury. This has just come out from some of the beat reporters' commentary post-game here. So let me get the actual language. This comes from ESPN's Kimberly Martin, who asked Rashad about the boot that he was wearing on his right foot. Yes, a boot was being worn post-game by Rashad. It's a high ankle sprain. Doesn't expect to miss too much time. This is what Rashad is personally telling Kimberly Martin in the post-game locker room. He said he got hurt when he was tackled reaching for the end zone. To his surprise, no flag was thrown on the play. So it looks like it's a high ankle sprain. That typically comes with missed time. Not sure what the timetable is because we're just learning about it. But Rashad Bateman dealing with an ankle.
I mean, listen, there's been a couple times when boots have gone on people's ankles or legs, and it was a precautionary move. If this is not precautionary, and I mean, you said it was a high ankle sprain?
That's what he's telling Kimberly Martin.
Those can take a minute. Which is really too bad. I mean, I like Rashad Bateman in the red zone. We saw him get the 2-point conversion. But I like him there. And the Ravens have been struggling in the red zone, so they'll have to figure something else out if he's going to miss a couple weeks. There she is. Asked, do not like this boot situation. Yep, high ankle sprain, but doesn't expect to miss too much time. So we'll see if it's a little bit precautionary.
Yep.
We don't know what that means. Doesn't expect to miss too much time. And then the Ravens can win without Rashad Bateman. But of course, you prefer them to be healthy than not.
Yep. So that's just some breaking news that we have here. And, DeAndre Hopkins was banged up today, Sarah, at one point. Saw a note on him that he immediately exited the game. I believe he came back in. I'm not sure if there was any update on that. I don't believe John Harbaugh was asked nor provided any update on injuries whatsoever after today. So
yeah,
looks like some trainers from some that were having a bird's eye view, like Josh Tolentino, for example, Baltimore Sun. He said that trainers attending to DeAndre Hopkins on the visitors' sideline. That was a tweet of his in game. So anyway, just there's things to look at. Keep in mind as week 11 comes around and whatnot.
Well, and speaking of DeAndre, if he's not if he's fine, he and Tez Walker will be the two that will get, they'll be the two to step up. And I like DeAndre Hopkins in the red zone also. And so love that. And Tez Walker, before he was being, deactivated on game days, he was scoring touchdowns. So the Ravens aren't without solutions if Rashad Bateman needs to go down for a week, two or more. We'll see what happens. I'm sure they'll ask John Harbaugh tomorrow.
And you already know Zay is going to be there ready to go, right? Number one wide receiver on this team. Had a drop today, as we know. We've already discussed that, but 4 receptions, 75 yards, a long of 18.8. Continues to be that explosive playmaking wide receiver one for what the Ravens need him to be.
Is that all on offense? Anything else on offense before we flip over to defense, or should we get also a couple more super chats?
Yeah, why don't you dial a few of those up while I just sift through my notes to make sure that we've been as thorough as possible.
Okay, well, here's Dre Dog. Let me push this here. Dre Dog just said, just want to thank you, Sarah and Bobby, both for building such a great community in today's digital world. It's great to know we have a community like this. And Dre, we consider you a great part of this community. Thank you for that. Joey,
I want to know why he's saying that too. Not to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But I think one of the reasons why he's sharing those sentiments is that he and Jabbo, longtime subscriber, got together today to watch the game. And they're both VAULTRONs. So I hope you guys enjoyed the game, fellas.
That's awesome. Joey H here said he's been a Patreon, but do you prefer Patreon or YouTube member? Whatever you prefer, Joey. We just appreciate your support. We have no preference whatsoever. Whatever support you want to give, whatever's most convenient for you, we're always grateful for it. Tie My Shoe says Keaton should. No, you already did that one. Seems to be like out of order. James J, we are winning and improving every week. The other AFC power teams aren't flawless. The Bills today, Bobby. This is why you don't write off opponents all the time when you have a win. You can't always just say, well, the opponent was terrible, although it is always part of it. But people downplaying the Ravens win last week against Miami Dolphins, well, they just upset the Buffalo Bills. Now, it's an in-division game, so of course that happens more often. The Ravens will have the same type of game next week when they take on the Cleveland Browns, right? The Browns are next.
in Cleveland coming
in
up.
Cleveland. So the Ravens don't want to get, caught from a bad team like Cleveland, but these in-division games can be unpredictable. But nonetheless, here we are. The Ravens beat down the Dolphins last week. Dolphins go and upset the Bills. The Bears were downplayed, as I said, but they had 4 wins going into that game. Ravens win, and now they've won every game since then. What was their other win? Miami, Bears. Oh, and today Minnesota, where they kind of started to get new life when they put their starting quarterback J.J. McCarthy back in. And Minnesota was a good team. They were a good team, good defense. But it wasn't enough to beat the Ravens.
No, it was not. And so here they are, gearing up for a Week 11 game. To your point, against Cleveland, we will have a full rundown on some of the 1 o'clock games that, mean something to the AFC and how things are shaping up coming up later on in our quick hits, including what happened in the Cleveland-New York game. So all that and more still to come. We appreciate you guys for being with us today. Please like the video if you could on the way in. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership today. Sarah, Kyle Hamilton continues to be Kyle Hamilton, man. And he had some really interesting post-game comments. I think what leads us into this perfectly is our super chat from earlier on, right? I think this all kind of is tied in together. And Tanashi says, Bobby's living his best life. Great win by the Ravens. This was a gritty character-building win. Do you think Kyle Hamilton's presence at the line is causing false starts, maybe causing panic? Sarah, the Vikings were penalized 13 times. I believe 8 of those were pre-snap penalties. Kyle, and by the way, this entire team up front disrupts the quarterback from a line of sight standpoint. They get their hands up and they deflect the football. How many did they have today? I mean, they may not rush the passer consistently enough for all of our likings, but my goodness, they put their hands on footballs.
God, there's like 3 I can think of off the top of my head. Kyle Hamilton had one on the very first drive. I think the very first throw of the game. Definitely the first series.
Correct.
He had another one later on. CJ Okoye had one.
Travis Jones had one.
Travis Jones had one. There's 4. Yeah, for sure that's creating havoc. I mean, Kyle Hamilton was everywhere once again today. Whether he's lining up as linebacker or strong safety or in the slot, like whatever. In fact, there was at one point, remember that the Vikings had to resort to their trick plays, and they did was it a double pass or was it like a handoff and then a reverse pass the other way? I can't remember if it was a double pass or what.
It was, if I'm remembering it correctly, it was JJ to Jefferson and then Jefferson back to JJ.
Okay, there we go. There you go. And so Kyle Van Noy was kind of in there. There was a lot of blockers. Kyle Van Noy slowed him down just enough. And there was another Ravens defender that kind of slowed JJ. But it looked like they were getting ready to convert on that 3rd down. And the original TV kind of with the side angle view, out of nowhere, Kyle Hamilton comes into our screens and stops J.J. McCarthy short. Then you go and get the replay that gives you more of the all-22 look to see just how much ground he covered to come all the way from, I think it was the middle right hash, to come and make the tackle on the left hash before J.J. McCarthy could convert. I mean, the man is absolutely everywhere all the time. And this is exactly what the Ravens had envisioned when they made the Alohi Gilman trade. So he could do this. I mean, he is everywhere. I want more noise for Kyle Hamilton, Defensive Player of the Year. And if this defense keeps improving and the Ravens keep winning, he will get into the conversation.
He's just a problem. The guy's a total problem. Finished with, let's get his stat line up right here. Kyle, again, like the stat line just does not tell the full story, which I think is exactly what you were articulating there. 1 tackle, 2 pass deflections, and a quarterback hit. But what you don't see or hear when you look at that and listen to that is, some of the immeasurable impact that he's having, putting the stress on this offensive line. When he's up at the line of scrimmage, not only is it a stress for the quarterback, the way that Kyle can disguise certain looks and certain pieces of body language and just from an anticipation standpoint, I thought Bo Smoka tweeted out something post-game that spoke to this. He said, Kyle near the line of scrimmage is definitely a game changer. Yet at least once I saw him quickly bail and go deep just before the snap, which I think confused J.J. McCarthy. He looked deep, thought better of it, and ended up throwing a rushed incompletion. Just play Hamilton everywhere. And if that doesn't perfectly sum up what the Ravens need, want, and apparently can get from Kyle, I don't know what will or does.
Well, and here's what's crazy. That does sum it up extremely well. Good words from Bo Smoka here. But Kyle's words were kind of interesting after the game. Because he was talking about how the Ravens defense, he feels like, they're starting to hit their stride. And how do you not feel that way when you have 3 games in a row that you're not giving up, where you're giving up less than 20 points? So he wasn't even asked. He's like, not to bring up the past, but then he brings up the past. And this was his quote of what he thinks happened early, which is bananas to me. He says, what partially got us to a 1-5 record was we came into the season maybe thinking, and he puts a disclaimer. He goes, I'm not speaking for everybody, but they were thinking, we're the Baltimore Ravens. We're going to go do this and that, and the teams are just going to lay down and let us win games. And then he says, and that's not how it is in this league. So we got punched in the mouth early in the season, but now I think we're responding well, and we'll have the scar tissue going forward when we start stacking wins. But we kind of heard that reported that that the Ravens came in overconfident, which is not what I was expecting, given how they got knocked out of the playoffs early again. I thought they would come in a little bit like, I just don't know how you can come in overconfident when you keep getting knocked out of the playoffs before everybody expects it. But that's what it was. And maybe they were hearing all the shows like ours or national shows or the print media, local and national, saying, hey, this might be the best roster in football, talking about how good the defense was. So maybe they just got caught up feeling themselves. And the defense was bad. The defense was bad.
Yep.
Oh, terrible. And he's right. They have hit their stride now. And it's so nice to see him and the Ravens defense finally have some confidence again. And so is Zach Orr. It feels like people are more in position where they need to be to make plays. And I mean, again, it helps when you're playing, younger, more inexperienced quarterbacks, but it's hard to deny the turnaround that they've had.
Marlon Humphrey had some post-game comments as well. Jeff Zrebeck transcribing them, and he wrote, quote, obviously we have Lamar Jackson, but on defense, we're trying to get it to where we can win games on defense. We don't even need the offense to put up any moments. On defense, we can turn the ball over. We can get them the ball in the red zone. Quote, another part of Jeff's tweet, that's been the big key. The mindset shift of, even though we have Lamar Jackson, let's give him a smoke break. Let's give him an off day. He's bailed us out so many times. How about we do it? That's been a big difference. So some colorful comments from Marlon Humphrey as per usual.
That's exactly what we were saying when we were talking about Lamar in the first half of the show. This is the second week in a row since he's come back from a hamstring injury that he has not had to put on the cape. Nowhere near it. He was extremely productive in Miami with the 4 touchdown passes. He was very effective, very efficient. Today, only 1 touchdown pass, 180 plus yards throwing. And that's what you want to see. This is what everybody's been asking for. Stop just saying, hey, Lamar, save us. Hey, Lamar, save us. Oops, we didn't keep a fourth quarter lead. Can you go score again for us? We just gave up a touchdown in like less than 2 minutes. Can you go score for us again?
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that from Marlon Humphrey, that he's saying, why not? He's bailed us out so many times. How about we do it? That's been a big difference. And Bobby, I said this after the Bears game when the Ravens won with Tyler Huntley as the quarterback. I said in retrospect, because all of us remember that was the week that there was so much talk because the Ravens got fined for misrepresenting Lamar Jackson's practice status on Friday. Instead, he practiced in full, even though he was running the scout team. And so all of us were hoping Lamar would come back because the Ravens absolutely had to have that win. And they were 1-5. And so it's just like, please, Lamar, please come back. Please come back. And he couldn't come back. So Tyler Huntley went out and he played a great, clean, smart game. And the rest of the team stepped up around Tyler Humphrey. And I said at the time, I said, sometimes you don't see it until it's already passed with 2020 vision. But maybe that was a blessing in disguise. Lamar being out a couple games, listen, you don't ever ask for it. You don't ever want to see it. But with Lamar out for a couple games, everybody else had a gut check time. It was gut check time. Can we keep this team afloat for one more week until our franchise quarterback comes back? Can we just do this one time? Win it one time without Lamar. They couldn't do it with Cooper Rush. They did it with Tyler Huntley. And I think it was like a confidence booster. It's what's Marlon. What we heard Marlon Humphrey talk so many times in the past. Yeah, people don't fear us anymore. We're not the same Ravens anymore. It's not the same standard. And he was like telling the truth at the time, but it's also like, where's the moxie? Where is the Ravens of old back? And now today he's saying, hey, how about we give him a smoke break? How about we bail him out? Those are the type of words you want to see. Those are the type of words you want to see. You want to hear so that it's a full team effort. Because at some point Lamar will have to come back. But I love that Marlon sees that, and it seems like the rest of the team sees it too.
Here they are up on the screen. I mean, maybe they won't repeat. I think you did a good job of kind of like re-emphasizing that, hey, Marlon has been outspoken throughout this entire process that dates back to the offseason. And so for him to share these kind of sentiments, to your point, Sarah, I mean, you don't want to like overstate it, but you also don't want to understate it, what the significance of these are and where this defense appears to be heading. While we're on the topic of, kind of Kyle Hamilton and whatnot, how about the blindside block call on Adam Thielen?
Oh, yeah.
And what transpired after that? A little bit of extracurriculars. Did you notice what Roquan Smith was doing in the scrum? What was he doing as guys were jawing? Literally going up to every single one of his Ravens defensive running mates and pulling them away, ensuring that nobody gets fined, ensuring that nobody gets docked with a ridiculous penalty that will hurt them. I just thought that was pretty simple. Yes, it was simple. It's nothing groundbreaking, but in a highly emotional moment in a game that really came down to inches, as we've discussed throughout. It's just extraordinary leadership and emotional intelligence from Zero there.
Yeah, we talked about how Lamar stayed patient and calm and didn't let his emotions get the best of him. And Roquan Smith displayed the similar type of leadership over on the defensive side. It just feels like a different it just feels like a different Ravens team. Just all the frustration we saw in those early games and now like the calm. It's just two different teams. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you want that fire to come out. Sometimes it's needed. But sometimes it's so much that it's like you've just lost control of what's going on. So now I want to talk about these turnovers a little bit. There were 3 turnovers, takeaways. I guess, like to your point, I guess technically 6 turnovers when you add the 3 turnovers on downs, but 6 takeaways. There was Malachi Starks, there was Marlon Humphrey, and then there was Keandre Jackson. What a great story for him. But let's start with Marlon Humphrey. So he got the 20th of his career, and it's tying the Ravens defensive backs Dwayne Starks and Rod Woodson for the 4th most picks in Ravens history. You're not catching Ed Reed with 61, Ray Lewis 31, no. Chris McAllister 26. Marlon Humphrey, according to John Harbaugh, had a finger injury. So he was happy that Marlon was still able to get that interception. But today was kind of a roller coaster day for me with Marlon. He got burned twice early. He was picked on and he got beat, including that 62-yarder. But then he was able to reel in this interception. People said J.J. McCarthy made a bad decision, but he let that ride. He threw that before Justin Jefferson got tripped up with his feet on Marlon. So good for Marlon to keep his feet, and they get the interception with the finger. Is that a cast on his finger in that picture?
He does have a cast.
Dang, yep. That's pretty thick.
Yeah, so for him to still reel in that football, as Harbaugh acknowledged, you were going in that direction. you got to give him credit for that, even though it was an uncontested football. Clearly, this finger was severe enough popping up at the end of the week to warrant that kind of protection in game. So, yeah, I mean, Jalen Nailor had his way with Marlon on that opening drive. You mentioned it, 62 yards to 62 yards. It's an explosive play. That's a big play that is a black eye for the Ravens defense early in this game. Jalen finished with 5 receptions for 124 yards. That was a game high in both categories. He had 6 targets. So, for the job well done they did on Justin Jefferson, it did come at a price that they were willing to pay, I suppose, for a win with Jalen Nailor's production. But they did have a lot of success. I think you got to tip your cap to Chido Awuzie on some of the efforts that he was tasked with and assigned to when it comes to one of the most dynamic, if not the most dynamic wide receivers in the entire game.
And how about over here, the rookie Malachi Starks? And boy, did several of us, definitely including me, and I did tweeted it twice, said it was his first career interception. A few of us got thrown off by the broadcast because that's what they said. But how could I forget his first career interception last week? Can't blame the broadcast for that. Jeez Louise. Nonetheless, it was his second career interception. Sorry, Malachi. And he did a great job on it again. He played the deep back end of the field, read it well, came over to help, got a good catch, had a pretty good return. Marlon's return, what was that?
I don't know what he like glitched.
His return? What'd you say?
It looked like he glitched. Excuse me. I mean, it literally looked like he was like,
yeah. I was like,
I honestly, I'm watching. I'm like, did he see a penalty be thrown? He's just giving up.
Did he
like
hear a
the
whistle?
play's coming back.
Right. Was he waiting for blockers? What was Marlon doing? It was so weird. I was like looking at this TV screen. I was like, run, Marlon, run.
I know.
But Malachi Starks ran. He had a pretty good return. Did I bring in Hamilton's quote on this? He was quoted. You could tell he was like, he was riding for Malachi Starks a little bit. I think he was a little bit upset. Here it is. He said, he was asked about Malachi and how, he's kind of come alive in the last 2 games. And I think it was Jeff Zrebeck who was asking the question. He said, and you were kind of one of those people that were sticking up for him when things weren't going exactly smoothly for him in the early part of the season. And Kyle goes, yeah, God forbid that a rookie takes more than 7 games in the NFL to get adjusted.
Oh, yeah. It was a mini victory lap there.
Oh, he for sure was. I love he has his teammates back. God forbid that a rookie takes more than 7 games in the NFL to get adjusted. But of course, he didn't say it with such passion that I just had. It was still monotone. Kyle Hamilton. And he says he's progressing just fine. And it's no surprise to us. He's 21 years old. But by how he acts, he's 31. Talking about how he communicates back there, gets plays in, all that kind of stuff. So I just love that Kyle was like angry for his guy. Like, how about we give the, and did Kyle go? Kyle kind of had that kind of similar feedback when he wasn't like an all pro in week 1, and who else had that? Nate Wiggins, I think. There's just been like a few rookies where people are like, he's a bust after like 3 weeks. And it's like, holy moly, give these guys a chance. So Kyle came pretty hard for Malachi today.
Well, here's what's crazy. Malachi's interception may not even been his best play of the game, because I thought his 3rd down stop on Justin Jefferson, which was a screen pass from J.J. McCarthy, that might have been his best play, instincts-wise, execution, timing, angle. Like, that might have been the best play of the game for him personally. And I'm not taking anything away from the concentration that it took to reel in that football on the interception. But I just felt like I always go back to what John Harbaugh was talking about in the early part of the summer with Malachi. He's still processing the game. It hasn't led yet to playmaking. And I remember us talking about that. And we're like, okay, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But when's the playmaking going to come? Mm-hmm. And then I think you had that similar rookie wall for him earlier on in the season where the same could have been said. Like, it just seemed like he was overthinking a little bit. It seemed like the speed of the game was perhaps getting to him a bit and forcing him to overly process and overly think. And now you're starting to see, I think, the fruits of his labor from a film study standpoint. And now you're seeing the playmaking on top of that, and the transitions happening, and it pays off in the form of back-to-back weeks with interceptions. So good on Malachi.
You want to know what else paid off? Boy, did Keandre Jackson make the Ravens coach's decisions of releasing Sanusi Kane look good today.
Yeah.
And by the way, Sanusi did get picked back up on the practice squad. So there's that. But here he is. The Ravens have been using practice squad elevations for him. They were out of them. So they had a choice to make. And they cut Sanusi Kane. Say, hey, Keandre, a 53-man spot is yours. And all he does is come out today and force a fumble on a kickoff return. And not only did he force it, but he recovered it.
Yeah.
And he played well on special teams coverage throughout the game.
Yeah.
And so this is just another young guy, just that nobody had heard of, just under the radar, nobody talking about him. But it's like so many of these rookies are starting to, just keep getting better. And we said that. We said that about the defense. The Ravens are relying so much on young players like Malachi Starks, like Teddy Buchanan, like Mike Green, and now on special teams, Keandre Jackson. And these guys, they're just going to keep getting better. They're just going to keep getting better, and it's going to be leaps and bounds because every week they're learning so much more about the NFL game. I'm just so happy. I just love stories like these with Keandre Jackson where nobody knows about him. Out of nowhere, he just forces the team to make personnel changes and roster changes because they're forcing it through their play.
Illinois State. That's where he's undrafted out of. He and Keon Martin today playing as undrafted rookies for the Ravens. It's a great story. Sometimes you think undrafted rookies get their moments at the end of training camp when 53-man rosters come out. And Keandre maybe thought that he was going to get his moment at the end of the summer. Instead, he has to wait. Instead, he's on the practice squad. And now the patience pays off. Because to your point, the second they give him an opportunity to become a practice squad game day elevation several weeks ago, the guy immediately made his presence felt and known. And now he's doing so in other ways aside from just hit sticks and physicality in special teams. So good on him, and good on Teddy Buchanan, to mention another rookie that you just did as well. Teddy has been all around the football. His 6 tackles today, 5 of which were solo, ranked second on the team. Nate Wiggins led the way with 7 total, 6 of which were solo, and a pass deflection. So you're right. Second-year players and new rookies starting to round out into form and helping the Ravens try and turn this entire season around.
And what do you got on special teams? You always have special teams notes. Why don't we run through those? And then I saw some questions in the super chat so we could get to before we do quick hits.
Yeah, there's a ton of them in there.
Yeah. But give us a rundown of your special teams. I guess Keandre Jackson obviously was a huge one.
I think he was the perfect way to start it out.
Yeah.
It's really, in a lot of ways, it starts and ends with him because it's game chain. They needed every single one of those turnovers today. They needed. And just like they needed in a game that was decided by 8 points, they needed every single one of Tyler Loop's field goals.
Yeah.
Now, they only got 4 of his 5 attempts, if we're being nitty-gritty here.
56-yarder isn't a gimme, but...
Certainly not.
Yeah.
Certainly not. But Tyler finds a way. He goes 4 of 5, so good on him. To your point, he misses wide left from 56. He's now 16 of 18 on the season, so good for him. He has not been talked about a lot, which typically for a rookie kicker, that means good things are happening, or it means, well, it can mean a lot of things if you're not talking about a rookie kicker. But for right now, Tyler's passed the test. Yes, a lot of those 16 have been just snuck in from the right upright. In today's case, the left upright, but although he was wide left, like I said, from 56, but he's passed the test thus far through his first 10 NFL weeks. Outside of that, I think, the healthy scratch for Rasheen Ali, Sarah, going all the way back to pregame, pays dividends for the Ravens. we just can't sit here and be willing to accept the fact that Keaton Mitchell was a special teams decision in terms of why he was factored out of the equation earlier on in the season. And hopefully the Ravens coaching staff have reached that point as well, because clearly you can't not have the speed element that Keaton brings to your team. And I think hopefully they've realized that moving forward. At one point you're thinking, what is Kevin O'Connell going to do? These guys cannot protect the football on special teams. I believe Jay Higgins on the forced fumble that was recovered by Minnesota not long after the one that Keandre Jackson accomplished. I believe Jay Higgins, another undrafted rookie, the rookie out of Iowa, I want to say he was in on that. I never ended up seeing the full credit or the official credit, I should say, but it looked to me like Jay Higgins is in on that. And if he was, man, he keeps popping on special teams as well. Good for him.
Makes me want to look it up.
Right?
Kickoff. Which one are you talking about?
Jay Higgins, but it was the
what quarter though? Do you remember?
Help me out, live chat. When was that in the second half?
Oh, second half.
You guys got me on the J. Was it Jay Higgins? Anyway, you can look that up and I'll get to some super chats. Let's see. Shimmy Boy says Marlo is like when you're playing Madden and your wireless controller dies mid-game and you have to plug in the cable. Mike says, Bojita, are we still cooked? What's your analysis?
Yeah, Bojita. Meaning, remember, we defined cooked at the time. You didn't think they were going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's almost closing time on that. It's getting towards closing time on my behalf.
Now, to be fair, the reason why you did it is because you didn't think they were going to win some of these AFC North games coming up. You thought they would make things interesting, which now they are. They're still below 500.
Yeah.
Still below 500. So are you yet willing to say that you think the Ravens will make the playoffs? Not there yet.
I feel like I have to, in terms of the integrity of what I went with that day, which is what you just reiterated. I feel like I have to still be in wait and see mode.
Okay.
But there's no denying that the makeup of this team feels significantly different than it did a month ago.
Absolutely.
Not just the makeup of it, the results, the trending up, the statistics, the health, maybe most importantly, the fact that they had a practice this past week, Sarah, where at least one practice where all 53 players were available and ready. That's got to be talked about. So yeah, there's going to come a time, Mike, where obviously, there might come a time. We'll be obviously going to continue to revisit this.
You already said you were trending toward having to eat your words. So
yeah, that's no different.
We're still trending that way.
Yeah.
Red Hood just says that he said we have the potential to be the 07 Giants. This is better than I ever hoped for. We're playing as a team instead of a loaded team with just stars. Yep, I agree. They're playing with the team. Dre Dog, third wide receiver, getting some catches. Cool. Remember what that's about.
I think that was more about like I think I was like, hey, like the attention that was given to through quarters and John Harbaugh had a post-game comment on this. I'll pull it up in a second. I bookmarked it just from a defensive strategizing standpoint going up against Justin Jefferson. They were willing to, maybe not willing is the right word, but Jalen Nailor was the beneficiary of holding Jefferson and Addison in check.
Yeah.
And I think Dre Dog was like, hey, you're willing to live with wide receiver 3, if you will. In this case, Jalen Nailor contributing the way that he did, 5 receptions, 124 yards. You take away that 62-yard conversion with Marlon Humphrey in that opening drive, that looks a lot different. But on a day where you hold Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to a combined 7 catches for less than 100 yards, that's a win. And maybe that's what Dre Dog was getting at.
I think you might be right. Eric Hill says,
"Look, piggyback off that, Sarah, just because I had the John Harbaugh quote up. So they avoided straight double coverage. They weren't willing to be like, look, we are doubling Justin Jefferson to the distance. No, they used cover one robber and quarters It looked like that was some of the looks that they were willing to do. And that obviously, a lot of that fell on Chido Awuzie. But obviously, avoiding double coverage is key because they have other playmakers that you have to take into account.
Eric Hill says, looking forward to watching the game replay. We are on an upward trend. Let's keep the faith for our Ravens team. On another note, follow up to my email last week. If you need to talk, reach out. He said he's going to leave his email. He's going to leave his email in the chat.
Okay.
And his IG in the chat also.
I mean, I feel like Sarah, just in wake of everything that took place this week in the NFL with Marshawn Kneeland, it's yeah, like Eric, I think it's very timely of you to share the messages that you have in recent days. So thank you, brother.
Here we go. Chris Dixon putting on his reporting hat. Chris says, hey, Bobby and Sarah, happy to be here. Just reporting that I'm watching Marlon's IG live and he has a broken finger. That's all I got for now.
Wow.
Thanks,
did
Chris.
He share that?
I'm assuming he did. But that's what Chris is saying here.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll get around to watching his IG live at some point and to confirm that. But we appreciate you, Chris, giving that to us while we're still going live.
Yeah. Makes a lot, right? Kind of connects the dots for us.
Yeah. I mean, it looked broken with that cast he had on there.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. Sarah, do we have this one up here?
I think so, yeah, but I don't know if we didn't read it.
Fernando says, I was there with my sons. NFL Stadium number 27. Dude, good for you.
Yeah.
And we were definitely holding our collective breath for that first half, but happy to walk out, win happy. Ravens still rising and nowhere near done. LFG. Appreciate you, Fernando, and congratulations on being.
Yeah, that's cool.
Let's see. You are 5 stadiums out, right? 5 stadiums out from 32 across the board. It's pretty darn good. Although there's a couple new stadiums coming out, aren't there? You got Jacksonville and Buffalo with new stadiums, right? So does that reset your count by 2?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because it doesn't reset it, but maybe he goes like up to 35.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Or
sure.
34 if there's 2 more.
Sure.
So
Shimmy
Boy says, do you think at any point this season the Ravens might try Emory Jones, either left guard or right guard, as a starter, even if both guards are healthy? Any insights? I'll just say this. It feels like the way they've treated him with like activating him to the 53-man roster and all that, they've never wanted, even when Eric DeCosta talks about him before the season began, I thought it was going to be a redshirt year. Maybe it still will be. But the Ravens have always acted like a team that they wanted to see that they wanted to give him a shot. Now, maybe he's been having that shot in practice. Maybe they don't feel like he's there yet. I don't know. But I think they've left the door open for this scenario to play out.
There you go.
That Shimmy Boy's talking about. All right.
Yep. Like
and then
that.
just one more, just because it just came in, then we'll do quick hits and get on out of here. Ravens Medical says Rashad Bateman will miss approximately 4 to 6 weeks with the right high ankle sprain. Marlon reportedly has a finger fracture, which could hold him out a few weeks if it's a complex fracture. So this is all right. I'm assuming this is like one of those internet doctors.
Wait a second.
Not necessarily
Ravens Medical.
That's what it's called. Ravens Medical.
Look at the logo. Look at their header. They got a Ravens Minute Clinic.
there's maybe Ravens Medical is better than all the rest, but there's lots of internet doctors, that will say, hey, here's what I heard that they have. So this is what my diagnosis would be for a right high ankle sprain without, actual reporting or talking to him. So that's typically what a right high ankle sprain would be. Yes.
I kind of like the whole branding there. Thank you, Ravens Medical.
And he's paying $10 to get it up here.
DJ Burke writes, need to sweep the Steelers for the 5th time in our history. Wild card leaves too much up to chance based on losing to the Bills, Texans, and Chiefs. All could be wild cards. And if that doesn't further emphasize the parity this year, particularly in the AFC, I don't know what does. Tragic news, sad news. Tragic. I don't know if tragic is the right word, but sad news. Not that it was. Maybe I think tragic sometimes is unexpected. I know, former commissioner, NFL commissioner Paul Tagliabue was 84. So I don't know if that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But rest in peace to the former NFL commissioner, Sarah, and the Ravens put out a statement earlier today.
Yeah, this is their statement. It said, we are saddened by the passing of Paul Tagliabue. who is one of the most influential figures in league history. His leadership, devotion, and fortitude helped grow the NFL in immeasurable ways. Paul's impactful legacy will forever be felt in our great game. So good for the Ravens to put out that statement in the middle of the game there. Just try to go show their respect and love. We do the same. Yeah, it feels like it's been a minute since he's been the commissioner. So it's hard to remember all the things that he did, but I'm sure we'll be hearing lots of stories about that and the impacts he's had, a review of the impacts he's had on the NFL game.
No doubt. A lot of teams putting out personal statements for their organizations as well. And along the lines of what took place around the AFC, Sarah, again, week-to-week league was on full display. 10 days after getting embarrassed the way that they did, firing their general manager, what do the Dolphins come back and do? They beat the Bills 30-13 in Miami. So the Bills go down. The Jets pick up their second win of the year, beating Cleveland 27-20. Dylan Gabriel will remain the starting quarterback for the Browns. So that means the Ravens will see him, barring something that changes between now and next weekend. 27-20, Jets emerge victorious in that one. New England, Sarah, is surging right now. 28-23 winners over the Buccaneers in Tampa on the road. And then just because Chicago played the Ravens the other day, they found a way to beat the Giants 24-20. And as you ripped off the top of the show, they've won, 5 of 6 or 4 of 5? So the Bears are starting to put things together, winning in different ways. And there you have it, a little look around the AFC.
Well, and the Steelers play tonight at 8:20. So we'll all be watching that and obviously hoping the Chargers can pull off an upset. Well, actually not an upset. Maybe they'll win. There's Chargers 6-3, Pittsburgh 5-3. But hopefully Chargers can do that because, Bobby, right now, the Ravens are just one game behind the Steelers. Let me see here. I have a look at this here. Yeah, they're one game behind the Steelers. Steelers are currently 5-3. Ravens are 4-5. So, of course, you want to see them go to 5-4. So they're not actually one game behind. It looks like they're 2 games behind. So, but they just need to keep inching forward. Chargers, not a pushover. So we'll all be watching that. What are the Bengals up to? Are they on a bye this week? It looks like they're on a bye.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, there's no score for them, and they're not playing Sunday or Monday. So they must be on bye.
For what it's worth, Chargers are 3.5-point favorites going into tonight against Pittsburgh. And yes, week 10 is Cincy's bye. Bengals are 3-6, which is what you referenced.
There we go.
So that is that. Around the league, other things that matter, I guess, just in terms of the AFC side of things that we did not pull in. Houston beat the Jaguars 36-29. So the Texans are 4-5. Same with the Ravens at 4-5. They'll be jockeying for AFC seeding positioning. On Thursday night, Denver beat the Raiders, Sarah, 10-7. The Broncos are 8-2, and they beat the Raiders 10-7 in Denver. So Sean Payton and company improved to 8-2. That's good for divisional first place in the AFC West. New England with a nice cushion atop the AFC East right now. This is shaping up to be something else. They're 8-2, the Patriots are, in year one with Mike Vrabel. Buffalo's in second place, 6-3.
I am looking forward to that game. We're going to take it one week at a time. Obviously, all the players and coaches have to do that more than us. But that Patriots game, let's see. Well, it's a while. It's a ways out. Ravens have Browns, Jets, Bengals, Steelers, Bengals again, and then the Patriots. But that'll be week 16. And then the Packers. So those will be two playoff teams the Ravens can test themselves against after they've been beaten up on. Well, I was going to say non-playoff teams, but maybe the Bears are in position to go to the playoffs.
Yep.
So that'll be fun. 8-2. It's good. It's good. Good to see it. I look forward to the challenge. Definitely. You know who else? Dre Dog here has a little hype up for Ben Cleveland right now. Dre Dog's with the rest of us wants to see Ben Cleveland get a chance. He says they need to play Ben Cleveland. He's gotten a divorce, got pulled over for a DUI, cut from the team that drafted him, then resigned, had the coach call him out. He's got to be tipped and ready to go.
How about it, Dre? Keep speaking. Keep speaking it. I don't know if it's going to be heard, but keep speaking it.
King Lee wants Tez Walker time, and Eric Hill says, "Go Jets! 'Tis the season."
And I feel like we skipped over
We skipped
Donovan.
somebody?
Donovan says, Fa'alele. I'm not going to do that to him, Donovan. Fa'alele was lying on the ground all game, digging for Big Macs. Awful effort all around from him today. The coaches need to do something about this man. Partner, there were a couple other notes that I had bookmarked as well before we get on out of here. And I'm sorry for the presentation. It's obviously gotten very dark. And I just didn't want to get up and disrupt our flow. I could have turned the lights on out here.
Your
Apologies.
computer screen's glowing on your face a little bit. It's all right.
As you can see, it's golden hour, and it's not very golden right now because it's cloudy for the first time since we've been here in Belize. And I just, whatever. It's just, that's what's happening behind me. So apologies. But Jeff noting that he didn't see what happened or when it happened, but it looked like Jay Higgins, who I just referenced, who I thought was in on that forced fumble that was ultimately recovered on special teams by Minnesota. He thinks that Jay Higgins sustained a notable knee injury today. He left the locker room with a significant brace on his right leg. So if there's health to look at, Sarah, moving forward in terms of significance, well, it's all significant, obviously, for these guys personally, but I'm talking about as it relates to the game. Marlon Humphrey's finger, that if that's indeed broken, what kind of limitations will he be playing through moving forward? 2, Rashad Bateman. If that's a high ankle sprain indeed, as he told Kimberly Martin post-game, how much missed time is he looking at moving forward? How big of a loss could potentially Jay Higgins be in special teams? And will DeAndre Hopkins this week moving forward, will he be available in practice, suggesting that he came out okay or not okay, being that he was looked at by trainers in game today? So those are the 4, I think. Am I missing anybody there?
No, I think you hit them all. You hit them all. Because remember, going into the game, they didn't even have an injury report. So it would be these 4 all from this game. You mentioned Marlon Humphrey. I'm sure everybody's happy to hear that he tweeted a few minutes ago, "I've been given permission to podcast for another week. Stay tuned."
What? Since when did he need permission?
I think he's trolling us, as Marlo likes to do from time to time.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, and I don't think we mentioned this, but we definitely should. John Harbaugh has now won in every opposing city in the NFL.
Good for him.
Good for him. Good for him. He's been criticized a lot, including by us. Well, for several years by some, but for us, we've criticized him quite a bit this year. And deserved, in my view, deserved. And I said he had an opportunity to dig himself out of this and show what he can do and bring the team around. And he started that kind of turnaround without Lamar Jackson. I think that's been good for everybody, including John. And now that Lamar's back, he hasn't had to put on the cape. So you can't say, "Oh, Lamar said, hey," you can't say Harbaugh said, "Hey, Lamar, save us." Although Lamar does play well. But the criticism was deserved. I'm still in a Super Bowl or must mode, but I'm still going to give him his props. Absolutely, he deserves props. To be in this league for this long and to win in every opposing city in the NFL, I bet he feels pretty good about that right now.
Well, let's see. Have I missed anything? One more that should have been in special teams.
Okay.
Been critical of Tyler Loop when it comes to the dynamic kickoff and some of the issues that he's had there. Smooth sailing today. So not only was he 4 for 5, contributing 12 field goal points, missing from 56, but making 4 of 5. But he was solid. Did his job from a dynamic kickoff standpoint. So salute to Tyler for exactly that. Fernando says, back to his overall stadium count. Fernando writes 30 because LA and New York are shared, but yes, we'll be hitting all new stadiums when they open. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, because the Giants and Jets obviously share MetLife, and then the Rams and Chargers share, what do they call it? SoFi. So anyway, yes, Shannon, it got dark very fast where I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a sign to wrap things up.
Yes. And maybe I'll do more of this tomorrow, just to kind of celebrate my mother's 60th. But I know you as a mother of 4 can appreciate when you're all together because you're in the thick of it right now. You've got 4 under 16. What's Gardy? 16?
Yeah, 16. I've got 4 age ranging from 16 to 8.
Yeah. So you'll probably have these thoughts like more on down the line. But I know right now, even when they are all under your roof, you never take a moment for granted when the 6 of you are together,
Mhm.
your husband included. And I know my mom has echoed those thoughts throughout the course of the last, 72 hours or so since we've been in Placencia, Belize, all together. All siblings are here. Future brother-in-law is here, and we're just celebrating mom. And
Yeah.
we'll get more into details of some of the trip stuff. I'd love to show you some of the deep sea diving that we did yesterday, and John's GoPro footage from 50 feet down, swimming with schools of fish, and
Wow.
everything that we've been up to. But we'll save that for tomorrow. And yeah, so we'll get into more of that. I appreciate you. I'm so glad you had an awesome weekend. The first thing we said to each other when we hopped on our pre-show call prior to the post-game show was, "Man, I just miss you." It's like a long weekend leads to that kind of bittersweet feeling. So
Yeah.
look forward to attacking another week with you as we always do. And anything else before we jump?
Nothing for me. Just another great win for the Ravens. Got to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Well, watch out for, I don't know if you can call anything a trap game when you're below 400 or 500, but Browns coming to town. You expect to win. Don't get cocky. Like Kyle Hamilton said they did in the beginning of the year.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly that.
Sorry. I do want to say this. I'm so happy you're there with your family. It makes me happy to know that your mom is cherishing the moment to have all you guys together. I'm so happy that you're in a position that you can do that, where we can do these podcasts, YouTube shows on the road. These are moments that you should never miss, ever. And I know that we always do that, like you need to travel out there. Yay, I'll do the show. I need to travel. I know we both have each other's back for that. And we are extremely blessed and privileged, whatever you want to say it, to be able to take the show on the road all the time as needed and to have a partnership like that. So I'm so happy you could be doing this with your mom and your siblings.
I love that. Love that message because I feel every single part of it. The fact that we just got each other's back in terms of logistics that go into it, travel wise, and it's difficult to go on the road, no question about it. You got connectivity, logistics, weather, you name it, but it's always worth it to share time with those that are closest to you. So thank you for that. There'll be more to come tomorrow, and we'll share a little bit in one more thing in terms of what Belize is consisted of. And Dre Dog on our way out says, dropped a picture in the Discord, Bobby, of me and Jabbo. So we'll take a look at that later on. Maybe we'll include it tomorrow, Dre Dog. I hope you and Jabbo had a fantastic time watching this game, and Mike follows up with you.
Yeah, well, he wants to know how I'm feeling. Thank you for following up about BYU and Texas Tech. To be honest, Mike, I didn't even get to watch the game. One of the reasons why we both took Friday off, obviously he's in Belize, but I had a ton of company here. And when I tell you that this is probably the most I've played in like years with some of the people that came in town, I was sad to see that that the Cougars lost, and I'll probably be more sad when I can actually wrap my mind around it. But I've had so many people here, and we've been doing so much that my head has been spinning in the best way possible. And so I'm doing okay. So thanks for checking in. I can't tell if you're like checking in on me or if you're, rubbing it in. I don't know which one it is, but thanks for the question.
And that gave me a little bit of time just to, why not pull it up now? They're the boys today. Dre Dog and Jabbo chilling together, watching the game, looking mean and lean, gentlemen. So this is in the Discord group. Dre Dog, thanks for sharing that. I'll drop the link if you guys want to go share a thought and maybe, I don't know, connect with others. Sarah, on a pregame show today, I had a Belizean local. He's originally from a village 20 minutes away. Come on my pregame show with his Lamar Jackson jersey. So it is something how these partnerships and how this global fandom can come full circle. So just drop that link into the live chat if you can. Mike says both to your question.
Yeah, he's both rubbing it in and checking on you. If you're okay, I'll rub it in more, I bet.
I love it. But no, I just dropped Discord access in there if you want to link up with these guys and figure out what this VAULTRON community is all about in an area that is outside of the YouTube space. So thanks to all of you for a fantastic evening. Here's 90 minutes of content for you. The Ravens improved to 4-5 after taking down the Minnesota Vikings in a hostile environment on the road. Final score was 27-19. Next up is Cleveland, in Cleveland next weekend. Ravens have an opportunity, Sarah, to get back to 500 football. Dylan Gabriel will be the starting quarterback as a rookie for Kevin Stefanski's group. So all that and more is what we have coming up an instant reaction, or I should say overreaction Monday, whatever you want to call it. Victory Monday day, as always, 12 noon Eastern, coming up tomorrow. If you haven't already done so, go check out our best of playlist on YouTube, where we condense and find the best of 15, 20-minute segments of our more than hour-long shows on a daily basis. There'll be one dropping coming up later tonight. For Sarah Ellison, our tremendous brand partner, the folks at Manta Sleep, and all of you, including 3,700 plus concurrently watching at this moment, we appreciate you. Enjoy your victory. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. It's Pittsburgh. It's LA, meaning the Chargers. Should be a good one. We'll catch up with you at 12 noon on Monday. And as always, Vaultrons, thanks for spending some time with us here inside the Vault.